The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication and never missing a day, one, because of compounding interest, and two, if you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time, and you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me, and that annoys me. I believe that they have the lives they deserve because they haven't been prepared to suffer like I've suffered. If I was as lazy and incompetent as these people, I'd be like them. These people, they're not triers. I didn't even have chances that good. I wish I did. I wish I had a billionaire sitting on the internet explaining to me how the world worked. I would have done anything for that. But I've never had that chance. I had to work them all out myself, take huge monumental risks, do the nearly impossible to escape. It's easier to get rich now than it's ever been. This goes back into my mentality about the kind of person who takes risks and takes action. So then people will say to me, this is what's so amazing. People say to me, oh, how do you have all these Bugattis? How do you have $100 million of cars? You're so lucky. It's not luck. It's never been luck. I've been the person who took action. And if I were to tell you right now what action to take, you won't do it. So I'm not going to feel sorry for you when you fail. I'm not going to feel sorry for losers.
My life is just work. But that's boring, right? But that's the truth about it. I'm on my laptop all day, every day. I have 18 hours a day of screen time. I'm either training or I'm working. Do I know some women? Yes, of course. Do I have some fancy cars to drive? Yes. Can I go to the odd restaurant? Yes. But the majority of the time, all I do is work because that's what I enjoy to do. I don't think most things outside of work are as entertaining as the work itself. That's why I'm successful. Yeah, I do have women who I know, and yeah, I can have that crazy lifestyle, and I did it for a while. But I wouldn't even say it's empty. You know, people get successful and they start to say, oh, I'm above that. It's empty. It's vaporous. That's true. I just don't think it's as fun as working. I think just winning is fun. I think the whole point of life is a man's competition in the first place. Life is rented. I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm saying my philosophy is that you never own anything that you're not renting anyway. Your physical health is not something you have, it's something you rent. If you don't look after it, you lose it. Just like a house, if you don't pay the rent, you lose the house. It's the same with your business. If you don't look after your business, you lose the business, you lose your money. The same with women. If you don't look after the women, you lose the women. So do you have to sit there and attribute value to each thing and work out, is this worth the extra seconds in the day to maintain it? I mean, if I'm going to do anything, you're going to optimize it, right? Isn't that life? You go to the fight gym and you spar and you lose and you get better. You attempt to optimize it. You try and make some money. You attempt to optimize it. You attempt to grow the number of followers you have on your YouTube channel. When you go out dating women, you attempt to optimize it to get better at it. If I'm going to speak to people, I'm going to optimize it to be maximally effective. I want to be the person who can say less words than everybody else and have a larger impact. That's what I want to do. I've chosen that. I've decided to do that. I understand that to be able to do that, I also need to have a certain persona and a certain capability. It's hard to do that if I'm not financially successful. It's hard to do that if I'm physically weak. If I walk into a room and I want to bellow and I want to sit talk in a particular manner, but I'm physically weak and broke, nobody gives a shit. But I have real world accolades. Also, a lot of my real world accolades are based on the fact that I've suffered and I'm prepared to go through difficult scenarios for the things I've said, which once again adds credence to my words.
Does happiness exist to you?
I don't think it's important. I am already happy, and I'm happy all the time, even when bad things happen. I'm always a happy person. I don't operate in the happy, sad paradigm. So to me, I'm always happy because I don't measure it. If you don't measure something, it doesn't exist. If you give attention to depression, you're depressed. If you give attention to how happy you are, you're always going to be measuring if you're happy or not that day. If you don't think about those things, they don't exist. I don't give measurement to them. Is that the heartbreak part is the best part. Yeah. That's the real love. The whole holding hands, everything's happy, we're out at dinner, smiling, laughing. No, that's boring. The true memory of love, the actual real fun part of the love is the part where you feel the deepest, and you feel the deepest when it goes wrong. And we can apply that to everything. That's the funnest part of life. Funnest part of life. It's never fun at the time, but in retrospect, when you want to use hindsight and analyze your entire life via the lens of your mind, when you go back in time, those bad times are the best times. Because I believe as a man, chasing happiness is probably the most asinine thing you can do. It's the easiest way to lose as a man is to chase happiness. What will make me happy is not how you win as a man. How you win as a man is, I don't care how I feel, what must be done. And really the only thing that's fun in life is work. The only thing that's fun is the thing that made you rich in the first place. That's the reason it made you rich, because you found it fun. There are no fun activities to do once you're rich. The only thing you can really do is slow things down. So a poor person has a 1 hour lunch. I'm allowed a 4 hour lunch. Great. You can add some time to things. But I don't know. I see there are some other rich people who, they get enamored by wine and they think that giving their life to tasting different grapes is somehow not a complete waste of consciousness. But they're dipshits. And that's why they're not important. And that's why no one knows who they are. So when I talk to other millionaires and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win wine, I like to spend my time wine, well then you go do that. Life is it's a game, we're living in a simulation, and if you want a high score, you have to choose the highest difficulty. So I want a high score. A lot of these people, especially people who talk about Zen and Stoicism, etc., I distrust. And this isn't specifically about him, this is about all of these people. Because they'll sit in a beautiful field with green grass in Bali, and they'll put on a stupid robe. And they'll sit there and they'll do this and they'll say, I'm Zen, my mind is great. You're in a beautiful field in Bali. Of course you're Zen. What are you gonna be upset about? It's sunny, it's not even raining. You have nothing to complain about. Go and be Zen in a trench in Ukraine. Then show me your Zen. If you're so Zen and you're so fantastic with your mind, any of these people, I openly challenge you, considering you're all physically incapable, go do an MMA fight and get the shit kicked out of you. Go on, you know you're gonna lose because you're a pussy. I know you're gonna lose, you know you're gonna lose, he's gonna hurt you, but you're Zen. Show me the power of your mind. Go get your ass whooped. Oh no, you're scared. You won't do that. You won't go get in the cage and get grounded and pounded. I thought you were Zen. Turns out you're only Zen when everything's fine. That's not Zen. It's not Zen to be Zen when everything's fine. So all these people with their spoiled little privileged lives and their yoga retreats. Oh, I feel so great in my yoga retreat. Oh, you feel so great in one of the most idyllic locations on the planet, eating food that's prepared for you. You feel great. Wow, mental control. For the clown show. It's a clown show. If these people were truly who they wanted to pretend they are, they'd be in the trenches somewhere. The UFC fighter has more Zen when he's getting punched in the face in front of all these people, in front of his screaming wife, worried about him losing consciousness forever. When he's taking shots to the face and still avoiding them and keeping a clear enough mind to slip the punches. So all these people are full of because if they were truly Zen, they'd live a life similar to mine. But they don't. I ain't lonely. I've never been lonely. I've never been lonely. You don't know me. I've never been lonely. I had no money and I was never lonely. And I don't think it's possible for anybody to stay in a scenario where they're truly uncomfortable. If you fall asleep on your arm and your arm really starts to hurt, even in the deepest sleep, you're gonna wake up and move your arm. If you sit there and your life has been in a rut for 7 years, you are semi-comfortable in that rut. Sure, there's days you're pissed off. Sure, you're semi-annoyed by it. But there's also days where you just play video games, eat pizza, and you're kind of cool with it and it's no big deal. If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. Please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, these people have Ferraris. I want a Ferrari. I couldn't sleep. I just understood that there was a version of reality that I had yet to experience. I saw my parents struggle to pay the bills, and I saw my friends struggle to pay the bills, and I saw everyone around me unable to eat, and then I saw certain people with $500,000 cars, and I understood there must be a different version of reality. There must be a version of making money, a version of banking, of finance. There has to be a different world. This world I'm in, everyone's poor. This is garbage. That world, I can see people are living a reality that I can't even fathom. I'm under the mentality that you are exactly not where you deserve to be. That is one version of reality. That's one version of events. And although that's true, I want to put it in a different way. You're exactly where you wish to be in life. Even if you think you are not happy where you are, I can promise you are. Because if you're truly uncomfortable, you can't even sleep. If I put you on spikes, you can't lay down. You only lay down even if you're semi-comfortable. What I often hear from people and see from people is that they get very motivated for short periods of time. They'll be very motivated to change their life for 3 hours, and then they'll just go back to playing video games, and they're actually not unhappy with their life. They're fine to play video games and eat beans on toast and sit around in a small little apartment. They only become unhappy for a few hours now and again. That's when they talk about how motivated they are. That's when they talk about how hard they want to try. But in general, they're actually perfectly fine with their life, meaning they wish to be there. If they wished to be anywhere else, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And by extension, they would be exactly where they wish to be. I want you to understand at home, whether you're successful or unsuccessful, you wish to be where you are. If you wished to be big, you'd be big. You would train all day, every day. There is no such thing as wanting to be big and wishing to be big truthfully and not being big. If you say to a man, do you want to be bigger? They'll all say yes. But do they really wish for it? Oh, you'll take it for free. Well, you'll take anything for free. You'll take a Toyota Corolla for free, but you won't buy one. Taking something for free is very different than going out there and earning it and paying for it. They're very different things. So you're as big as you wish to be. You're as rich as you wish to be. You live where you wish to live. Because truthfully, when you wish for something with all of your heart, never in history has the universe or God failed to give it to you. Anything you've ever truly wished for in your entire life, you have gotten 100% of the time. So then the logical extension of this mindset is you have to analyze and decide, one, why you wish to be where you currently are. Why? And two, if you want to change that, where you actually genuinely wish to be. Because you have to make sure you really want it. Everyone will say they want to have $100 million. Everyone will say it, but it's not true. And if you don't wish for it, you're never going to get it. And in fact, you won't even elevate from your current position unless you're more realistic with your wish and say, I don't want 100 million. I just want 1 million. That's my advice. Heartbreak is the most fantastic motivator on the planet. When a lot of men message me and say they're heartbroken, I think that is the most fantastic mindset to be in to achieve things. Because there is that degree of revenge and there is that degree of vengeance, and that can only be achieved through being so successful, so monumentally important that she can't forgive you. And also, you cannot even sleep. You can't even concentrate. Like your whole mind's a mess. That's the perfect time to train. I only mention heartbreak all the time because I know it's a path every single young man goes through. There's up and down. There's rain and sunshine. You have to be that man who's going to go through it all. If you're a man who has a heartbroken, why did this happen? You have to know the why to prevent it from happening. You have to analyze the scenario and learn from it. When you look at your bad or your previous relationships with women that went wrong, you can sit there and go, okay, this all went wrong. What has she taught me? She taught me that I'm emotionally affectable. She taught me that if she ignores me, she gets more attention than if she's nice to me. You have to sit there and analyze all the lessons and you have to implement. It's the same with absolutely everything. As a man, you have to be accountable for absolutely everything. Every single thing that happens is your fault. You made her leave you. You did. Whether you like it or not. You are the reason she became so cold. You are the reason she doesn't listen anymore. You are the reason she's so arrogant all of a sudden. You are. You may not have identified why yet, but if you identify why, then you get into your next relationship healed and understanding what you did wrong and learn from it. That's what you have to do. But most of these men don't want the self-accountability and they want to blame the women. You have to blame yourself. I actually truly believe that women in their hearts, unless they're completely corrupted by society, women just want to love and be loved and feel safe. That's what they want. They want a man that they can look at and they truly know he makes the decisions and I trust him to make the decisions and I love him for that and I respect him for that. That's what they truly want. When a woman starts turning on you, it's usually because she doesn't trust you for some reason. She doesn't trust your judgment. If she starts to doubt your judgment, how can she truly love you? You're the protector. You're the provider. If a woman's gone cold on you, you have to sit there and go, okay, she doesn't trust my judgment. What have I done that made her doubt me? It's not her fault. It's your fault. Every single time a woman leaves you as a man, it is your fault. Always. Even if a richer, more successful, more alpha man stole her from you, it's still your fault because you need to be like him. It's always 100% your fault. First things first is that going through a breakup sucks. And every single man out here, no matter what they say, understands how bad it is to go through a breakup and understands what heartbreak's like. It's difficult. It's not easy. I'd actually like to argue that men feel more heartbroken than women. I think that's facts. I think it's true. And I think it's because one of the possessive element that we have, the idea of her being with someone else hurts more than the idea of you being with someone else to her. And secondly, because you have a lot less options than she has instantly. So I think that breakups are worse for men than they are for women. And I understand how difficult and hard they can be. However, unfortunately, the unfortunate reality is that chasing her and being dedicated to her and saying you're going to do whatever she wants, etc., is very unlikely to work. It's very unlikely to work. And you have to look at the scenario you're in, look at the chessboard and make the best possible move. When you're heartbroken, when you're truly heartbroken, you can't even sleep. And your mind is constantly preoccupied. And instead of seeing that as a negative, what you need to do is use that as a source of unlimited power. You have to just take the energy inside of you. Energy cannot be destroyed.
It can only be converted, whether it's heat into light, the momentum into friction, or however you want to put it, right? Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. And you have to look at that and understand that the sadness inside of you is energy. You can't destroy it, but you can convert it into something else which is constructive. And you just have to suck it up, buttercup, and get over it. And there's no other way to do it. And obviously having an abundance of women makes that easier. But I wouldn't even put it that way. I'd say if you were with a woman and you lost her and you're now lonely and she's going to be moving on and you're absolutely utterly heartbroken and you're destroyed inside, I understand how difficult that is. But now you have genuine sadness inside of you, which is unlimited motivation for you to become a beast, become an animal. And by the time you're finished becoming an animal, you won't care anymore. So if you really want to cure yourself, you just say, I'm going to get a six-pack and I'm going to get bigger arms. And by the time my arms are this size and I have a six-pack, you'll realize you don't give a shit about her anymore. That's just the way the world works.
Let's say your wife breaks your heart. If you're not going to work, you can't sleep anymore. You're upset. She's running around with a new dude. You see her Instagram story. She's got some new guy. You're furious and you're angry and you're jealous and you're bitter. You have all of this inside of you. But you're not going to go to the gym and work hard and become so fantastically in shape and so rich and so powerful that no girl ever leaves you again. You're not going to do that. No. What are you going to do with it? Text her? Try and explain to her? She doesn't care. Like, you can write the most perfect English. You can write the most beautiful words ever constructed. Forget Shakespeare. You can do, it doesn't matter. She doesn't care. She just doesn't care. She's distracted.
She forgot about you.
She forgot about you. So what are you going to do with all of that inside of you if it's not positive? Well, it's going to consume you and you're going to end up self-destructive, or you're going to embarrass yourself, or you can take all of that and put yourself in a position where it never happens to you again.
Yeah.
Those are the choices. So what's the most intelligent choice to make?
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand how many humans function in the world today. I don't get people who don't think like me. I don't understand it. I'm like, well, then how have you survived this long? Life is hard. Life is difficult. Maybe I've just been unlucky, which I don't believe in, but I've had so much trauma and bad events and negativity and stress and all these things that have happened to me. And I've used all of it to be monumentally successful. If I wasn't that way inclined with the workload that God put on my shoulders, I'd just be in a ditch somewhere. Like, I don't understand how people are functioning. If you're not thinking like me and you're going through life with any other mindset, you've been extremely fortunate that God smiled on you and allowed you to sit around most of the time doing jack shit, and you have yet to be punished for that. Yeah. I could never have lived that life. If I was a bit lazy or a bit, or I was a bit of a snake, or if I lied to people, I'd be dead by now. Yeah. Like, so a lot of these people are just absolutely and utterly blessed by God that they managed to go through life with such a non-competitive mindset and they're still breathing. Like, I don't understand how people can think any other way. Yeah. I've spoken to dudes and like, I had a bad couple months. Why? Oh, my girl left me. You've wasted months? You've wasted months? But the reason I'm the luckiest man on earth is because God has given me endless building blocks to build a superhero. He's given me endless power. He's given me endless motivation. What do we say?
Yeah.
He's given me I have endless sources of power. I can sit here right now and recall events that will prevent me from sleeping for 2 to 3 days. That gives me a superpower that other men do not have. They want to go to sleep. They're tired. I can stop being tired for days at a time. I can just have a thought. I can remember. I can sit, close my eyes, and use the power of my brain to vividly remember events, and I will not sleep for days. And when people come to me and say, oh, this happened, I'm really sad, or my heart broke, or this bad thing happened to me, I say, good. Thank the Lord that he's given you this endless source of motivation. You're wasting it. Yeah. That's your problem. But it's been given to you. Nitrous oxide has been given to you. You just have to use it in the correct way. So I'm the luckiest man in the world because all the bad things that happened to me have given me all the building blocks to become the most fantastic man on the face of the planet. If you have your life in order as a man, truly and completely in order, then you're compatible with a lot more people. I think that if you're a man and you're struggling to find somebody you're compatible with, that's probably because you're a loser. If your life's in order, then you're compatible with a lot of women. Like me, for example, I don't need a woman to mother me. I don't need a woman to motivate me, to tell me to stop playing video games. I don't need her to do anything for me. I need her to be happy, positive, protect my spirit, pray for me, maybe little things, make me a coffee, some kind of small gesture. But my money's right, my motivation's right, my life is right. And if she is associated with me, by proxy, she's going to have a fantastic life. I can't fly on my jet and put her on an easy jet. Yeah. Like, she's going to end up on jets. She's going to end up in the 5-star hotels. She's going to end up not having to worry about money. She's going to end up in the best restaurants. Yeah. By proxy, she's going to have a very fantastic life. So you'll find that if your expectations of a woman are for her to be happy and you have a lifestyle that makes her happy, a lot of women are pretty happy, and you get along with basically all of them. It's kind of amazing how that works. It takes a very special type of character to still be
dislikable in those kind of scenarios. Whereas if your life is less perfect or your reality is less impressive, then you need a girl who's happy to be bored and then it becomes harder. The cowardice is they are afraid to lose her. Trump says it in his book, The Art of the Deal. If you're not prepared to walk away from the table, you cannot negotiate. And that is absolutely true in a relationship. If you are not prepared to get rid of her, then what are you negotiating? If you're not prepared to say, sorry, that's the red line, goodbye, then you don't have a negotiating position. You don't have one, because you'll just say no, forever. It'll just stay forever. There has to be a line you will not allow to be crossed. There has to be, right? And so many men are so scared of losing the girl, but if you refuse, men message me all the time, I need my girl to listen to me, I don't want to split up with her. You already lost. Like, bro, if you're telling me there's no scenario in which you will leave her, I can't help you. Because I have people message me all the time and they go, oh yeah, but it's easy for you, Tate, you don't care. I say, no, incorrect. I will tell you right now on this podcast, I have walked away from women I loved with all my heart and women I missed for months, but I never told them. And I never text them. I just fucking was a man about it. Being a man about things is not feeling things. It's being a man about it. Be a man about it. If she's not going to be the woman you need her to be, she has to go. It's actually very interesting, the masculine experience, because I like to believe that most men on the planet have lived a semi-similar timeline. All of us as men experience a very similar human paradigm, and that is that most men are born and you're not important, and then you go to school and you fall in love with some girl in school, and then you realize that all the 19-year-olds you want when you're 19 are with older dudes because they have cars or whatever, and you go through this experience of getting your heart broken and losing your girlfriend, etc., or accept they're gonna have their heart broken forever. But some men decide to become so big and important and strong and irreplaceable that they never have to suffer heartbreak again. You know why God made your girl leave you? Because he wanted to show you that you ain't shit. He wanted to show you that you are human and you're fallible and that you're very replaceable. So he decided to make you fall in love with a girl, and he decided to make her leave you. Now it is your job to look at the board, understand what's happened, say, I understand, God, I deserve that. I'm glad she left me and I'm sad, and do something about it. Because if you refuse, if you ignore God's message, next time you fall in love, guess what he's going to do? He's going to make her leave you. Every single man out here, if you're upset that your girl's leaving you, God is reminding you that you aren't worth shit. You need to get up and work so hard that even in the eyes of God, he is proud of you. God loves his creations, which show him their true potential and beauty. By getting up and trying your absolute best and becoming a man of moral standing, he will reward you and bless you. So God just broke your heart on purpose to show you that the way you're living your life and the man you are simply are not good enough. What have you changed since? Nothing. You think God's going to forgive you for no reason? You think God's going to go, it's fine. He hasn't learned his lesson. He hasn't changed. He isn't even trying very hard. He's not up early in the gym. He ain't doing nothing. It's fine. Let's just let him fall in love. No, sir. This is going to repeat endlessly. It's a cycle that will not change until you take the message from God and become the man you're supposed to be. You deserve what's happened to you. You deserve how you feel. All of it. Right? What did we talk earlier about how trauma can mold you? Now, trauma can be a fantastic thing. Heartbreak, sadness, these are all fantastic motivators. I'm telling you why they're a fantastic motivator. You go to a guy who's heartbroken, he has all the motivation in the world to send 300 text messages. He has the motivation, he's putting it in the wrong place.
That's 300 cold emails you could be sending to someone to pitch a business.
That's a lot of money you could have made. Life's gonna hurt you, and how you use that pain is completely and utterly up to you. You can use that pain to galvanize yourself as a man and become a better man you've ever been. I'm not saying that I'm only successful because of some chick. I'm saying that every single time that I was heartbroken, I never wasted a second. I was never wallowed. You are feeling the same pain that many men have felt. Every man out there has had his heart broken and understands how difficult it is as a man. But the difference is, as a man, you must build yourself into a man of credibility, which means to build yourself into a man of standing, we all start in a fairly similar position. I became me through tedious, arduous, difficult, never-ending work. You are wasting your time. Most of you, your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself. You are the one who is destroying your own prospects because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life, you do not control your woman, you do not control the weather, you do not control the politicians, you don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things. Everything you want's at the top. So you have two choices. You either go through hell, climbing the mountain to get what you want, or you go through hell not having what you want. This is the only two real options. So when people say to me, oh, but this, but that, I try to explain to them, adversity is the only way to get anything of value. That's why it has value. If everyone could have a six-pack without work, then a six-pack wouldn't mean anything. A six-pack means something because they know you had to work to get it. The adversity is what adds value to it.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people who work harder than others, and it's always going to be competitive, and the people who work harder are always going to win. That's the game. So you're either a hardworking person who gets up and does what they're supposed to do regardless of how they feel and performs, or you're not. It doesn't matter what system or what country, whatever, the hardworking ones are going to rise to the top. And that's why I have a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't have motivation. If you don't have motivation to be anything other than a peon, then you deserve to be a peon, and you will stay a peon. And that's God's mission for you. You are designed to work in Starbucks and serve me my coffee for the rest of your human years. Good. Stay there. Because if working in Starbucks like a jackass does not motivate you to get up and do something, then that's all you deserve. You shouldn't need motivation. Your terrible life is motivation. Most of these people who pretend they haven't got motivation don't deserve anything more than they've got. The people who deserve to win are going to win. I won because I knew I deserved it. And everyone around me, same story. We all come from, you met my dad. He was certainly not a rich man. We all came from fucking zero and we got there because we knew we deserved it. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't have motivation to try, that's no problem. Cut my grass. Fine by me.
If you're going to go, do it. If you're going to do it right. There's no point in half doing anything. You may as well have not done it at all. So this idea you can coast through things, this idea you can lazily try or pretend to try or just showing up counts, I dispute all of that absolutely. You give 100% of your heart, soul, and vigor to anything you do, and it becomes a habit so that it's all you know how to do. Before you know it, you're driving a car trying to do it as well as possible. And you're having a conversation trying to be as clear and compendious and concise as possible. And you're trying to make money as much as possible, as efficiently as possible. And you're trying to educate your children as well as possible. You're trying to protect your family as much as possible. You're trying to get as strong as possible. Because all you know is maximum limits. That's all you've ever done. You've never done any of this, that garbage can go out the window. So you need to get good at getting good at things. And you need to get good at trying 100% at all things, whether you like them or not. And this will give you a base level of competency in all realms, even if you're not in love with said task. If you do try your best, it's very rare you fail. In fact, it's nearly impossible. People say it's okay to lose if you tried your best. The secret to the universe is if you try your best, you hardly ever lose. It takes some freak accident or the will of God to ensure that you don't pull it off if you actually try your best. And on the few scenarios that's happened in my life, I'm happy to take the L because I can say, I couldn't have tried any harder. I done my absolute best. I know I did my best. I can't try any harder. God knows more than me, and he decided that things have to be slightly different right now. That's fine. It's easy to take the L if you try your best. So if you try your best, you never feel the bitter sting of regret. You never feel the dark rankness. You never taste failure. It's never in your mouth. It's never lucid. It's never tangible. Because you approached the scenario with absolute vigor. And truthfully, effort is a muscle, like everything else. The more you exercise it, the better it becomes. So even if you try for 100% for something and fail, you've exercised your effort muscle. Which means you haven't failed because you've learned something and become better at giving effort to things. You've become better at being concentrated on a task. So it's nearly impossible to fail in these scenarios. Unless you take action and do things that show the universe you deserve a life beyond somewhere stuck in the middle, simply being extracted from and affording lifestyles for other people who have had either a better upbringing, perhaps had an advantage you did not have, or they started below you and surpassed you. You as a man should be offended by the fact that my brother and I started miles below you and have surpassed you in every single human metric. That should bother you. You should be inspired by us, but you should also sit there and go, why are they beating me? They started below me. They started the race way back there. And I was so lazy and so stupid, and I took life for granted, and I expected everything to be given to me, that these guys have managed to lap me and surpass me based purely on hunger and grit alone. They had no advantages. All they had was this innate desire to do anything it took. So anything I do, I don't want to be bad at. I either don't do it or I try my very best all the time to become extremely good at it. I don't see the point in doing anything and being mediocre or being bad at it. What's the point? If I'm going to speak on podcasts, I want to be good at it. Anything I'm going to do, I want to be good at. Now, you should have enough respect for yourself that you're prepared to always put in the effort to give your best 100% because it is a habit. You should always give your best to anything you do. When you pick up a video game, you should give your best. When you drive a car, you should attempt to drive as efficiently as possible, using the brake as little as possible to not waste fuel, to make sure there's no close calls, no sudden braking. Most of you are just getting in your car and driving like a jackass from point A to point B, not trying to actually go, you know what, let me drive and pretend I have the queen in the back seat and I can't even brake suddenly. And I only have a fraction of fuel. How far can I go if I very smoothly, very calmly anticipate the traffic in advance, move my car in and out of the cars so I barely have to brake, keep moving slowly and smoothly? Let me try and get good at this. You need to fall in love with being happy with yourself for how hard you've dedicated yourself to a task. That needs to be more satisfying to you than relaxing. Relaxing is probably the most boring thing you can possibly say for me to do. Say, Andrew, do you want to go relax? And say, what do I do? Stare at a wall? That sounds terrible. Nothing is worse than relaxing. I don't want to relax. I want to work. That's all I want to do is work. Because if I work and I achieve things, I feel good inside. I got something done. I feel good. I feel happy. If I just relax, nothing's been achieved, so I don't see the point of it. It doesn't even relax me. In fact, it makes me very anxious. Your future is the result of your daily actions. You're defined by what you do today. Lazy now, loser later, get to work. The life you want is easy. All you have to do is fall in love with the work. If you fall in love with the work, fall in love with being good at doing your work, getting it done, never missing a day. Because the easiest way to make sure you never miss a lucky day is to try every single day. Lucky days exist. And you're never going to know if you have a lucky day or not unless you try every single day. Then you're never going to miss any lucky days. And you're going to pull it off. And you're going to realize it wasn't actually that difficult. All it took was consistency and constant effort. Never being lazy and doing everything I'm supposed to do properly. It's almost impressive how difficult it is to make the average person move. The average person is a statue getting shit on by the pigeons. And they'd rather just sit there covered in shit than move. It's very hard to inspire people to take initiative to save themselves. It's incredible. From my position, I can extrapolate out my massive influence. And I can say, well, in my position, surely when I say do something, millions of people should do it. And they do. That's why I'm so monumentally influential. But there's also millions of people who don't. Why? When they know that it's going to work. Some people are just born to lose. These are people who are betrayed by their own mind and can't be influenced even from the external because their own mind betrays them. There's a devil on their shoulder constantly holding them back. Think of what you want. Look at how difficult it is to get. Be happy that it's difficult, because that's the only reason you fucking want it. If it was easy, you wouldn't even want it.
Yeah.
And get to work or don't. Those are the two choices. Get to work or don't.
Yes.
But if you choose don't come on Twitter with an anon account and attack you and me and go, oh, you're a loser, it's easy for you. Because you had your choice too. You're an able-bodied person. You can get up and learn to fight. You might be better than me. How the fuck do you know? Train the same hours I trained, you might be even better. But you don't know because you never fucking bothered. So it's you either do it or you don't. And karmic retributions are real. In the end, God gives you exactly what you deserve. So if you're not happy with your life, you have to ask yourself, do you really deserve more? Have you really tried 100% of the time? Did you ignore that headache? Are you as competent as you could possibly be? Have you given 100% every time you've done anything? No. You deserve what you have. You deserve your mediocrity because you're an average person. You want a Lambo and these women and a boat and whatever else you want because you see it on Instagram, but wanting something and deserving something are very different things. If you truly deserved it, you'd be working for it in a way that ensures it would be given to you by the universe. Every single thing I've ever wanted, I have got. Maybe not instantly, maybe not easily. In fact, certainly not both. It was always difficult and it always took time, but I really wanted them, so I always got them. And I put in enough work to show God and show the universe I deserve them, so he gave them to me. If smoking weed kills your fire, don't smoke weed. If drinking booze kills your fire, don't drink booze. Everything you need to do. If drinking booze gives you fire, then fucking drink it. I don't care. But you need to sit down and look at your life and say, what's going to make me as motivated as possible? Is it developing an imagination to imagine my dream life? I'm sure it is. Is it having a social circle of people who are always trying to elevate? I'm sure it is. Is it having a girlfriend who supports me in all of my dreams? I'm sure it is. You need to then sit there, look at every facet of your life, analyze it one by one, and develop a lifestyle which is going to give you endless fire, because without it, you are going to lose.
I trained so hard because I was scared of losing. I was scared of meeting my opponent on X day at X time and getting my ass kicked and looking like an idiot and possibly dying and getting brain damage. I was afraid, and I used that fear to train as hard as possible. And you can apply that to life as a whole. You need to use the fear of being mediocre and use it to make you try as hard as possible. The reason with most mediocre people is they don't have a fear of being mediocre. They've listened to the Matrix programming and they've been convinced that being mediocre is absolutely fine. It's fine to not be that successful. You know what? All our graves are the same size. Doesn't matter what you achieve in your life. Doop-de-doo, dumpty-dum. This is the slave mind. And I refuse to accept it. I do not accept that. I accept I'm an exceptional individual and I deserve an exceptional experience of the human consciousness. And that's what I'm going to fucking have. And it doesn't matter. If I have to do it myself, that's fine, because no one else is going to do it for me. So yeah, there has to be a healthy fear. If you're genuinely scared and genuinely uncomfortable in a certain situation, you're going to move. If you fall asleep on your arm and it gets uncomfortable, you'll wake your ass up and move your arm. But if you're comfortable, you're not going to. So when I see somebody who's sitting in a rut, and they've been in a rut for a long time, they're obvious, maybe, a couple times a week they're pissed off with the rut, when they got a bill they can't pay or whatever, and they'll message you going, I really need to get out, I've got to change my life, bro. But the second things aren't that bad, they're back to playing video games. So you're only uncomfortable 2 days a week. For 5 days a week, you're fine being a fucking loser. And that's why you're still a loser.
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah. When someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect, and we're also here to do important things. And important things are going to be difficult, and they're going to be hard, and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. Yeah. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl, because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. I don't understand how many humans function in the world today. I don't get people who don't think like me. I don't understand it. I'm like, well, then how have you survived this long? Life is hard. Life is difficult. Maybe I've just been unlucky, which I don't believe in, but I've had so much trauma and bad events and negativity and stress and all these things that have happened to me, and I've used all of it to be monumentally successful. If I wasn't that way inclined, with the workload that God put on my shoulders, I'd just be in a ditch somewhere. Yeah. I'd would have killed myself by now. Like, I don't understand how people are functioning. If you're not thinking like me and you're going through life with any other mindset, you've been extremely fortunate that God smiled on you and allowed you to sit around around most of the time doing jack shit, and you have yet to be punished for that.
Yeah.
I could never have lived that life. If I was a bit lazy or a bit, or I was a bit of a snake, or if I lied to people, I'd be dead by now.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of these people are just absolutely and utterly blessed by God that they managed to go through life with such a non-competitive mindset, and they still breathing. Like, I don't understand how people can think any other way.
Yeah.
I've spoken to dudes and like, yeah, I had a bad couple months. Why? Oh, my girl left me. You've wasted months? You've wasted months over some... Like, you had think of how much God loves you to have given you the grace and given you the opportunity to waste months of human time over some chick. Like, talk about blessed head to toe. If I waste months, empires are going to collapse. I'm going to end up in a cell or dead if I waste months. I have things to do every single day. I can't waste a second. Like, these people are just absolutely infinitely blessed, and their mindset is a product of that because they're spoiled children. Absolutely spoiled children. If you're going through life with any other mindset besides a hyper competitive one, where you're capable of competing with some of the most dangerous men on the planet in all their forms, me and my network, and also my competitors. If you don't have that mindset, then you have to understand that you are spoiled. Yeah. You're spoiled by your reality, because there's a whole bunch of people out here daily who fail. There are men out here who fail daily, and they have yet to feel the true consequence for it. They fail to go to the gym when they know they should have gone to the gym. They fail because they forgot their keys and it took them 10 minutes to find them. They fail because they replied to a question they got sent on WhatsApp the wrong way. They fail because they didn't smile when they were supposed to. They didn't say please and thank you to that person who helped them. They fail because they didn't say hi to that girl who's looking at them out the corner of their eye. They just fail perpetually. They go through life missing every opportunity and just failing. And somehow we've built a society which is so soft and God is so giving and so graceful that they still have a place to eat and somewhere to sleep, and they're still surviving. That shows how nice God is. Yeah. Because before this society, truthfully, if you were that level of failure, you would be dead.
Survival of the fittest.
It's survival of the fittest. And none of these men out here are fit. No. Their mindset isn't fit. Their reality isn't fit. They're failures. They're failures. Yeah. And they're just failing every single day. And they go, oh, but tomorrow I'll go to the gym. Yeah. You've been failing your whole life. That's all you've done is fail. And then you sit and wonder why people like me absolutely and utterly outcompete you. It is so easy to become a top tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low. There are 2% killers like me, and everybody else amateur, head to toe amateur. They can't even pay attention to anything. They can't try anything. They're amateurs. And it's really mind-blowing to me because I've tried with all of my computational power to imagine having a mindset different to mine. And I just can't see a reality worth having. I can't see a reality worth living. I can't see how you're going to build a life worth experiencing if you have any other mindset. I can't see it. Yeah. I've never met somebody with a fantastic life who did not completely and utterly believe in themselves. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves, ever. I've never seen somebody who just allows life to happen to them and become blown off course by some sadness, end up doing massively monumental and important things. I've never seen it.
It's never happened.
It does, and it's never going to happen. If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it.
Yeah.
That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire.
Right.
If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed.
Exactly.
But these people seem to...
It's okay to be unhappy.
Yeah, well, these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. And you're like, okay. And maybe 3 days of the week they're unhappy doing that. Yeah. And that's the time they email you, and that's the time they want to make a change. But 4 days of the week, they don't really, it doesn't really bother them. Yeah. It doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what?
They would fix it.
Correct. Yeah. So I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a And now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for these people. And because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior. Yeah. That's their problem. I don't care how I feel. Yeah. I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care. Yeah. I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do, and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human, and that's life.
But truthfully, it doesn't matter if it's getting a girl or it's making money or it's getting status. It doesn't matter what it is. As a man, we live in hyper-competitive environments. I don't think enough men understand how competitive the world is. If you want a girl, you're competing against other men. You're not the only man who had the idea of getting that girl. There's no girl you're going to see and go, oh, I'll get that girl, and didn't cross anyone else's mind. Everybody else wants her. You have to outcompete other men. You have to be as competitive as possible. You have to be as successful as possible in all realms. You have to be as good-looking, as funny, as smart, as spontaneous, as interesting, as charismatic, as rich as possible. You need to try very hard to be your absolute best. And as you become a better man, you'll crack through different tiers of attractiveness, and eventually you get to the top and you'll be able to have any girl you want. But the truth is, I have a lot of guys ask me, similar to your question, a guy will come to me and go, how do I get a girl? I'm like, bro, you're a loser. Yeah, but I know, but how do I get a girl? Well, you're a fucking loser. You're a loser. Why are you asking me? It's like saying, how do I win a race with a push bike? You're racing Ferraris. What do you want me to do? Yeah. There's only so much you can do. There's only so hard you can pedal. There's only so many tricks and tips. There's only so many game things you can say, so many pickup lines. If you're a loser, it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to get harder and harder. The game is rigged to become harder and harder for men. It's not getting easier. It's going the other way. And if you're going to be on a racetrack and there's going to be Ferraris there, and you're going to be on a pedal bike or in a Nissan, you're going to get smoked. That's the game. You have to up yourself. You have to improve yourself. I'm not going to lie to anybody here and say you don't have to improve yourself. You can stay a loser and get chicks, because you can't.
So how do you find happiness? Happiness is in struggle. The struggle and the size of the struggle you're facing, along with how important it is and how important you feel it is deep in your heart, is directly correlated to how successful and how happy you're going to feel all of the time. Struggle is extremely important for a man, and you should be looking to inject struggle into your life permanently. For a man, your contentment will come from your purpose, and it will come from your competence, and it will come from succeeding objectives. It will come from completing difficult things that other people cannot complete. It will never come from the easily accessible hedonism, which you have confused for fun. If everybody can do it, you shouldn't want to do it. If everybody can go to that concert, you shouldn't want to go. If everybody can go to that club, you shouldn't want to go. You should only want to do things others can't do. The only fun I have is doing things I know you're not allowed to do. So you need to sit there and go, all right, I'm being asked to do something fun. Who else can do this? And if the answer is everybody, stop. I clear my emails. I've trained hard that day. I've made a couple $1 million. I've checked on all the people I love, all the people I care about. I've donated some money to charity. My children are fed. Their mothers are taken care of. Everything is in order. Everything is in its proper place. That is fun. If you say to me, Andrew, skip a portion of that organization and professionalism so that we can go and do something that everyone else can do, my answer will be no. That does not sound fun to me. And the fact that you think that's fun shows that you have a severe mental deficiency. Stay away from it. You're only going to find actual fun through purpose. You're only going to find purpose through exceptionalism. So you need to become the best possible version of yourself in all realms. That's extremely important. The reason you are so unhappy is because you are trying to have fun. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. They are very different things, and you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine, and I don't state this with arrogance, please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet. And you're a kickboxing world champion, and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that, and nothing can beat that.
Manifestation is real, but not because your mind manages to magically attract the things you want. I think it just reminds you of what you really want, and it allows you to find energy all the time. If you manifest yourself having a perfect physique,
you're going to be a lot more motivated in the gym. It's not the thought that makes the physique, it's the gym that makes the physique. However, the manifestation makes you want to go to the gym. So I do believe that if you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. But I think manifestation works in another way. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things.
As a man, you need to have struggle in your life. And I want you guys to actually sit and think, what struggle are you going through daily? What struggle are you undertaking? What struggle are you trying to overcome? Because you should make a list of them. I can know for myself, every single day I wake up and I train physically. Every single day I have to go through X amount of physical pain when my day begins. That is a struggle that must be completed. Then I must try and keep my massive empire online, see my children, take care of everybody. There's struggle involved. My life is difficult. Difficult lives are fulfilling because we used to have to hunt and fish and go out there and go through difficulty to survive. And when I look at men who are physical specimens, I think everyone naturally does this, but I'm going to openly say it. I respect them differently than I look at men who aren't. I have a different level of respect for them because they show me they have discipline. They show me they have motivation. They show me they're capable of doing difficult and hard things. Those are the kind of people I trust. They're not afraid of struggle. They're problem solvers. People who train are problem solvers, and you need to become one. And you need to become very, very adept at solving problems pretty quickly. Do you not understand how intimidating that is? It's when they look at a group of people and they all look like superheroes and they can tell they're all disciplined, all hardworking, all dedicated, all physically strong. The struggle is what's beautiful about it. That's the most important thing. That's what you have to understand. First, you want to become as strong as physically possible. So you want to be as strong as physically possible. Next, you want to try and make as much money as possible. Not even necessarily for the money, although money is extremely important because it allows you to take care of yourself. We talked about this before, but there's the challenge involved, and solving that challenge is going to make you feel more satisfied as a human. Happiness comes from success, and making money is success. You should try and make people around you smile and be happy. You should try and encourage positivity around you. You should be the kind of person that no one can really complain about their struggles around because they know that you're the person who's going to be like, why are you complaining when you could just simply fix it?
I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice and it's pretty easy to do. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life and they have no objectives to try and conquer are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer. Why did the emperors we discussed earlier constantly try and expand their empires? Because they wanted to struggle. Yeah. They wanted difficulty. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So I think a lot of people confuse these things and they sit and say, this is merely making me unhappy. Or, if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. But if you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark.
This is actually why people are addicted to video games. Young men are addicted to video games because it mimics virtually what they ought to be doing in the real world.
Yeah.
Effort in to upgrade their character, to become a better version of themselves so they can do better things than they could previously do and explore new areas of the map. You understand this in video games, and you do it in video games because it's very interesting to do. However, you don't want to do it in the real world. But in the real world, it's so much more rewarding. And I'm actually going to argue that we're living in one of the final periods where that's true. I'd say in a few generations, who you are and who your physical body is may not matter nearly as much.
No, but it does matter today. A lot.
Exactly. So that's why you should enjoy it while you can. I believe if you lift, stretch, move, improve your body, try and train MMA, learn how to fight, get stronger, get bigger muscles, it's a fast track to self-discipline, which will carry over into all other endeavors. And I would argue that is nearly impossible. In fact, how many people can say the gym saved their life? How many people do you know were depressed, started training, got in fantastic shape, and weren't depressed anymore? It is very easy. The low-hanging fruit is your body and upgrading your body. That is the easiest struggle, which is never going to backfire on you and never going to be a negative towards any other facet of your life.
If I say something, I stick to it. I believe that your word is your bond, and you should stick to everything you say. So for me, the simplest life hack is to make sure I never see myself as a liar. If I say something, I'm going to do it. So if I say I'm going to run a marathon, I now have the energy to run the marathon because I don't want to break my word to myself. Which the hack to that is I don't need the energy to run the marathon. I need the energy to say I'll run a marathon, which is a lot less. But once I've said it, I have to do it. So if I look at something and I don't want to do it, and I think that looks too hard to do, I'll tell Tristan or I'll tell someone close to me I'm going to do it. So now I have to do it. Just be brutally honest with yourself all the time. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make the correct move on the chessboard. If you think you're better than you are or worse than you are, you're going to make mistakes. You need to know exactly where you are.
You and your friends need to have friendly competition at all times. Now, you need to meet your friends, and you need to have banter and competition around things that matter. Who's got the most money? Who's worked hardest? Who's discovered XYZ? Crypto, stock, new way of generating income? Who's trained that day? Who has the most children? Put some actual competitions together that matter and start competing and being around people, because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody knows this. So why don't you get some genuine metrics that will improve your life? You won't have time to stand around cooking meals if you're friends with somebody who works out for 3 hours a day, for example, because you're going to need to find 3 hours a day to train to beat him, which means you're going to have to just eat that rotisserie chicken as you do squats, like a man should. Live with men you're in competition with. This is ultra important, because you can measure yourself against your circle. Get your act together, get some genuine metrics, things that matter, and once they're all put together, you're going to live in a naturally competitive environment, which is going to increase your testosterone level. It's going to prevent you from doing a lot of dumb shit. And the competition one's great, because you can apply it to everything.
I think that getting rich when you're young as a man is probably one of the worst things that can happen. You don't want to get rich to your late 20s. You want to spend all your 20s broke.
Broke and grinding.
Broke, grinding, training. If I had money at 18, 19, I would have skipped so many experiences and so many hard lessons. I'd be a fraction of the man I am today. So I don't like the idea of kids just gambling and getting lucky.
Yeah.
Now, that's the worst thing that can happen to a young man. He's skipping all the struggle, all the pain and suffering he's going to attempt to skip with money. He's going to end up suffering more in the end, but he's going to just lose, lose, lose. I often see that when I speak to people who are too comfortable, they end up being unhappy.
Yeah.
You can't entertain yourself to happiness. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, creative, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a mathematical equation. You solve the equation, you get a Bitcoin. Life is very much the same. There's struggles, there's difficulties which you have undertaken, which you have adopted to try and complete. And when you finish those things, then you get satisfaction as a reward. That's the Bitcoin. The only other alternative to that, to feel good, is hedonism. And that's not going to satisfy you for very long. It's also going to destroy your life. So it's extremely important.
Masculine competition is fun. I think what's fun as a man is being the best at anything, right? So I live in a very masculine environment because masculine competition drives you forward. We all work together. We all work inside of the company, and we're very successful. But yeah, I don't really know what's fun anymore. I just feel like nothing's really fun anymore besides working hard, or you need an activity which is so adrenaline filled that it distracts you, which is why I love driving fast cars and fighting, because it's the only time I'm not thinking about work. Yeah, so I'm happy just to get my work done, and maybe I'm starting to get old after all. I'm 37, I'm getting old. I see my kids, I do my emails, I train hard, maybe go for a drive with the car, maybe get a coffee. That's it. Oh, he doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we can talk about all the reasons he doesn't go forever. That's a very long, lifelong conversation, but he needs to go. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts and the duty and the honor and the commitments, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness, and there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day I say I'm happy might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because their expectation might be higher for happy because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child.
I don't really give a shit how the men I know feel because they have things they need to do. And as long as they're going to do them like they're supposed to do them, I don't really care that much. And if they were to come to me and say they feel down about something and they had a good reason, I wouldn't be insensitive. That's fine. But we're talking about a death of a family member or something. And we're talking about 1 or 2 days until you just get back to life. You have things to do. If you're injecting struggle and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, having debates, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her, make sure that your people who you love are taken care of. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well. Because the distance between pain and joy is what we experience. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. Every time you look at something which is fun, it's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Experiences are unique. Jail was a unique experience. Bunch of fun. Unique. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. Now, there are some things that are fun which can be earned. And there are some things which are fun that you could do, which perhaps involve skill. Driving a supercar around a racetrack is fun. It involves skill. You have to be good at what you do. Cool. But a lot of this fun that is easily accessible to everyone, because not everybody can get a Ferrari on a closed racetrack. I can. You can't because you're poor. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need hard work. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. You need duty, you need obligations, and you need performance metrics. You need people around you who are going to hold you accountable. You're nobodies. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Your obsession with fun is holding you back. These things you think are fun aren't fun. Action solves all things. Time solves all things. God solves all things. And to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. If I feel sad, I don't cry. Just get on with life. It's the adult mentality. So I'm not sure. Feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day. So it doesn't change anything. So I have other things to think about. People are afraid of accepting there's a problem because then they know they have a responsibility towards fixing it. Yeah. And they don't want to do anything, 1, because they're lazy, and 2, because they're afraid they might lose. So they'd rather pretend there's no problem at all. And I think I often say to people in a lot of my videos about a lot of other subjects that it's not always the winning and the losing. It's the fighting in the first place. And there's plenty of men in history you remember who ended up losing in the end. Napoleon, for example, who still fought, which is why they mattered. It's not, if you're only going to fight when you're guaranteed to win, then no bravery is required. And you have to fight so that you can look back on your life and feel happy that you tried to do something when you knew it was going on before it was too late. Forget about the winning and losing for now. Focus on the fight. You must wait for the moment when the opponent's mind is scattered and strike without hesitation. If you do not overcome your tendency to give up so easily, your life will lead to nothing. Objectify your demons so you control them instead of them controlling you. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, especially your impulses, or else you're going to lose yourself. You will only be found by the devil once you are lost, and he will lead you to hell. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by men who kept fighting when there seemed to be no hope at all. That's a good slogan for life. You should wake up, look in the mirror, and say, suddenly, the champion returns with initiative and vengeance. Truthfully, a man, I believe, is being able to do the things that are hard or do things you don't want to do because you're supposed to do them. I think that's what a man's always been. A man is supposed to be strong. He needs to be strong, so he has to become strong. That's his job. A man is supposed to be brave. It's not that you can't feel fear. It's that you have to be brave. Oh, an attacker's here. I'm afraid, but I'm a man, so I will go and engage the attacker. It is my job. And now we're teaching men, you don't have to do what you don't feel like doing. You can do what you do feel like doing. The thing that people struggle with most, especially men, is that we only learn lessons the hard way. That's the problem. You want to be good at learning lessons the easy way, which is really paying attention and making sure the feedback you're receiving, you need to be perceptive to it so that it doesn't have to be so hard-hitting. You need to be the kind of person who goes out for a drive and his wheels slide a bit and he slows down. But what people typically do is they go out for a drive, their wheels slide a little bit, they continue, and then they crash. And then they realize I should have slowed down once they hit a tree. They only learn the hard way. But when they got the easy little bits of feedback, they didn't want to pay attention to them because it was easy and they thought they got away with it. And it's the same with a relationship and the same with everything else. There's little bits of feedback. You go, okay, this is going to be a problem later on if I continue. But they ignore that part. They wait for it all to blow up and go wrong. And then they learn. So men only learn the hard way.
And the reason they're sitting at home, even if they don't admit to these ailments, wondering why they're so unhappy all the time, is because you're fighting an internal battle. Your monologue is different in your mind from what your spirit truly wants. You want to be respected, you want to be strong, you want to stand up for what you know is right, you want to be a man, and you're just too afraid to engage the enemy, so you're going to self-destruct, you're going to turn on yourself. There's a fire inside of you. There's a fire inside of absolutely every man, and you can either direct it at your enemy and do your very best to destroy him, or it's going to burn inside of you and eat you alive. You have to make a choice. The cowardice that you feel that prevents you from engaging the enemy is the biggest betrayal, because now you're just engaging yourself. The battle's certain either way. So I strongly recommend you find who the enemy is and direct your efforts towards their destruction, as opposed to sitting there allowing yourself to self-immolate.